how you've went from mediocrity to success and the little things that you've done. I mean, before we kind of get into it, I mean, do you honestly think 2 or 3 years ago you would have called that person or knocked that door of that person that told you to shut up and hung up on you?
Uh, I think that I probably did that a little bit
Okay.
uh, 2 or 3 years ago. I think is the difference now is back then I'm kind of like doing a loosey goosey regiment of how I'm handling things. Like I might do it, I might not, but now I'm like organized, structured. Like I'm making phone calls on Tuesday and Thursday, and I'm keeping track of like every time someone hangs up or every conversation. I'm like, okay, that's a person I'm going to go door knock on Monday. Like I'm like everything is just set up. I think that's the big difference. So it's helped me to just level up because my whole mindset is on this machine mode of how I'm handling my work weeks. So I think that's what I think that's the difference between Joe, who door knocked those people 2 or 3 years ago, and Joe, who's now doing it like in this super structured, focused mission type of way of doing it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, for the sake of the audience, I'm trying to delineate between loosey goosey and machine. So kind of elaborate on that. Like when you say loosey goosey, have would you like think about whether you would actually do this or not? Like you may do it, you may not. Is that kind of what you're saying? Like you were unsystematic about the approach, just flew by the seat of your pants. Can you kind of elaborate on that?
Yeah, like I think, I'd wake up in the morning, I'd have my leads, I'd go door knock them or whatever I was doing out in the field. I would come up with kind of a schedule, and then maybe I'd go through all the leads that like didn't hang up on me or something. And then I'd say, okay, well, I got this lead here. I guess I'll go door knock this lead. Like it would be kind of like a spur of the moment,
Yeah.
like I would work hard, but now it's just more like an organized thing with me, which is it just makes I don't know, it just makes the world of difference when you are structured. And I'm like, okay, this person that hung up on Tuesday, I'm gonna go door knock them on Monday, and I know I'm gonna do it. And I'm like, it's like just my whole mindset is just different. It's when you start really blocking your schedule to specific times, you really it's like some magic happens. Like you start seeing the weak points in your game and you start seeing the strong points, and you're able to really get it all solid together.
What
And
what
it, yeah.
what are some other things you're doing differently now that kind of lead into this kind of machine structured, organized approach versus what you weren't doing then? So you're running a schedule, pretty firm schedule. There's a systematic approach. You're not, it's just you do it. You don't like debate whether or not you're going to, what else are you doing differently?
So the biggest thing that I started doing uh, a few months ago is I started really honing in on training. Um, like I really realized that I need to go back to fundamentals. I you had an interview quite some time ago with I think his name is Matt Lowry. He does like leads
Yeah. Yeah.
nowadays.
Yeah.
Um, and he said something in there that really resonated, which is what you talk about. You talk about on a regular basis, but when he said it, it just really it kind of snapped my mind. He said, sales is people say sales is an art form, but really it's a science. And he said agents need training. And I thought about that, and I said, man, I need to go back to training. I need to start doing the fundamentals. And here's the biggest thing I did, Dave. So I've always had the what if syndrome going on with me. Like, what if I door knock all my leads? What if I
Yeah.
do all direct mail? What if I do Facebook leads? What if I call and do like what if I was always like on this what if stuff. And then finally I said the biggest what if uh sometime this year. I said, what if I just follow Dave's system to a T and I stop thinking about it? And I just kind of be a lizard brain about it, and I just do it. And I don't try to always like kind of implement my own thing along with what Dave's saying. Like, what if I just hear Dave and I say, okay, I'm going to do that. And so that's what I did. And then I started training, like just to kind of give an example of what I mean. Like, you got the door knock script, the phone script, and you have the presentation in the home. So on a weekly basis, I'm rehearsing all of those, man, 10, 20, 30 times a piece every week. I'm like, I have good habits like that in the morning. On door knock Monday in the morning before I go out, I'm doing some door knock training. I'm saying the pitch. I'm going to be standing up and doing some different body language stuff. My phone days. So here's another one. On my phone day, I print out all my leads, and before I call them all, I do a mock phone script with every single lead. So before I even talk to someone, I've rehearsed the script 30, 35, 40 times. And then I get on the phone. So
now think about that from a standpoint. First, this is very fascinating to me. Joe I can safely say you never did this until recently. So there are years and years you never did this. You got a guy who's been doing this 4 or 5 years now, who has now put him in this position of, I would call this ultimate humility. Like, he's not too good for the system. He's reverted back to fundamentals, right? Which fundamentals are good as a beginner and as an advanced. I think that's what Joe would say. And he is practicing the script. He's really taken this whole process of the fundamentals so seriously that he's going through greasing the groove and think about this. How far ahead will Joe be on the scripts, presentation, door knocking, appointment setting, doing this kind of grease groove process? Hey, sweetie. And doing this process dozens upon dozens of times a week, if not hundreds of times. How much further is he going to be ahead because he understands the seriousness of how important it is to perform this stuff immediately, on demand and on command?